Do you want to purchase a property in Spain but you're afraid of losing money for doing things wrong? Don't worry, because this is a common feeling among first-time property buyers in Spain. This is Oscar Turegano from Emerging Investors. We provide immigration, banking, and real estate solutions to foreign investors in Spain and Portugal. If you're thinking of buying a property in Spain, you should contact a professional real estate buyer agent who can help you in every step of the process. This video will bring you the most important tips for doing a proper real estate due diligence in Spain, so that you can control the buying process and make sure that everything is correct before buying a property. The first and most important advice I can give you is to not sign any document without knowing exactly what you're signing for. There are many real estate agencies in Spain that quickly try to legally bind foreign buyers into a reservation contract to make money out of that. But you might be asking, what should I do before signing any document? Well, the first thing you have to do when you see a property you like is to request to the seller's real estate agent for the Nota Simple certificate. Normally, the agent already has this certificate but will not give it to you unless you ask for it. But if the agent does not give it to you, you can also request it by yourself through the online platform of the property registry, but it has a cost of around 10 euros. And what should you look for in this certificate? There are two pieces of essential information in there. The first one is the ownership of the property. It is very important to know who the real owner of the property is, since both the earnest money contract and the public deed must include all the owners of the property. If the property was inherited and is currently owned by several owners, the person who sells you the property to you must have special powers of attorney from all the owners to carry out the sale of their property. I'm telling you that ownership problems are very common in notaries and can lead to long delays to finally buy the property. So you should be aware of all these problems beforehand. The second piece of information you will find in the Nota Simple certificate is about charges and encumbrances that the property has. You will be able to check if the property has any mortgage or if it has some type of debt attached to the property. You gotta make sure to agree with the seller to the cancellation of all debts that the property may have. So when you already decided to sign the reservation contract and deposit a small fee, it's time to think about the next important move, which is the earnest money agreement. This agreement is basically a private sale contract between the buyer and the seller. Bear in mind that this is the most important contract, since the official deed of sale in the notary is in most cases a simple copy of this private contract. Watch out, because the earnest money agreement cannot be registered in the land registry, but the Spanish law considers it a valid contract in which both parties must comply with everything that is established in it. So the conditions you sign in this agreement are practically definitive. In this contract, there are three main clauses you should consider. The first one is the penalty for non-compliance. The most common penalty for the buyer is the loss of the deposit. On the other hand, the penalty for the seller is the return of 2 times the deposit amount. And the most common deposit in Spain is at 10% of the final purchase price. The second clause you should negotiate is the causes of return of the deposit. As the property buyer, you can negotiate with the seller the return of the deposit in case of not obtaining a mortgage. However, this is a clause that 99% of sellers will not agree. But what you can do is to negotiate the date where you will sign the public deed. Keep in mind that since the most recent Spanish mortgage law in 2019, taking a mortgage in Spain requires a few more steps and it can take some time, especially if you're doing everything by yourself and not with a professional mortgage broker. If you're going to take a mortgage to buy the property, you should consider negotiating a period of 6 to 8 weeks between the earnest money agreement and the public deed. And during that time, you will have to negotiate mortgage offers with banks. If you're not using a mortgage broker specialized in foreign investors, you should look for big international banks such as Santander Bank or BBVA, since smaller banks often refuse to work with foreign citizens due to risk management policies. And finally, another important clause is the terms and conditions of the sale. There you will have to check that the price is correct and negotiate with the seller who will pay for certain closing costs, such as the real estate agent commissions and the notary costs. My professional advice here is to propose to the seller to add a clause that says that the closing costs will be distributed according to the law, since the law in this case protects the interest of the buyer. Also remember that the property tax of the current year must be paid by the person who owned the property on the first day of the year, so it is always the seller. Another important advice here is to not accept under-the-counter payments, since registering the property below its purchase price will be detrimental in the long run. And remember that the buying process does not finish at the signing of the public deed into notary, since the buyer will have to follow some additional steps such as paying the transfer tax in the land registry. The transfer tax in Spain is different depending on where the property is located, but ranges from 4% to 10%. In Madrid, for example, is a 6%, whereas in Barcelona is a 10%. If you want to buy a property in Spain with the help of a professional real estate buyer agent, you can reach out to us through the contact link you will find in the description below. We will provide you with immigration, banking, and real estate services in Spain.